Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world, coming off a 3-game sweep in Toronto. They didn't win a fucking game. They got walked off back-to-back games. Saturday, Sunday, woo! Up your ass. Completely embarrassing. Absolutely unacceptable. It's looking like a bunch of assholes up north.
Don't make me cry.
That's your 2023 Boston Red Sox. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Nothing like the 2023 Red Sox that we've talked about for weeks, right? Them not being able to pitch whatsoever, go deep into games. Well, guess what?
Care.
Now all 3 games, you get to go deep. You get, one solid start from Bayo, 2 good starts from Sale and Pavetta, and then here you are. That's what the 2023 Red Sox are, though. You can't be mad at it. It is what it is.
Will Middlebrook said on the postgame, he was just like, and this is coming from a player perspective, when you're out of it, you kind of just check out a little bit. Like, the offense was never a problem during the season, at least consistently. Like, they would have their off nights and they would have their skids or whatever. But I think now what we're seeing is like, fuck, man, we're out of it. Like, I mean, Rafi hitting the game tying home run in the 9th inning with 2 outs and 2 strikes is fucking hilarious. Like, we were just like, all right, we're going to wait till the end of the game to start the podcast. And then Rafi hits a game tying home run in the 9th, and you're just like, oh God, I just want to get this all over with. Like, there's no excitement, like no joy. Just like, fuck, man. Like, now you're just prolonging my day. Like, why did you do that? And then yesterday, I was going to go see The Nun 2, 6:50 showing, sitting in the parking lot. Like, I got there at like 6, walked in, bought my ticket, came back out. I'm listening to the game in the car. Shout out to Will Fleming and Loomer. They're on the call. And Rafaela just completely botches a play in center field, which, again, I pointed out on Twitter saying, guy said no excuses. Like, he didn't make any excuses. Like, I forget who was asking, might have been Dildo Pete Abe, saying like, oh, is it because, it's a new ballpark? And he's like, no excuses. Like, I misread it.
And can I say the people that want to, there were some of them yesterday, which, please get a fucking grip. We sit here, a lot of these people, like, we realize the season is done at this point. You are just playing out the string. We're begging, just let the kids play. So we have something interesting to watch. You're getting something out of these games. It's development, right? We watched last year, Tristan Casas getting his feet wet. Brian Bayo, it meant something. Yeah, Ceddanne Rafaela misjudges a ball. We've heard everything about the glove and how great it is. That one play isn't going to change my opinion, but you make mistakes. Something goes wrong. You take the lesson, you move forward. This is the time to do it. I'd rather it happen in a meaningless game right now than, whether it's next year or whatever it may be. Like, we've seen with Jarren Duran, this is just part of the cycle. The kid's been up, 2 weeks? Can we grow the fuck up and not lose our minds over a meaningless game? I think it's about development.
What he probably needed was a pair of knockaround sunglasses. And this episode is sponsored by Knockaround Sunglasses, quality polarized, affordable shades, including new MLB and U.S. Women's soccer team pairs. Check them out at knockaround.com. And this is our first episode since the Chaim Bloom reaction podcast that we did. I feel like we got a lot of good feedback on that podcast. I don't know that because we had a good mix. Coley was on that show. You're a Chaim Bloominati guy. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think Coley is more pro Chaim than most. We didn't have any, no one was celebrating. Like, we didn't have any anti Chaim Bloom guys, which I feel like is in a way almost misrepresenting the entire dialogue on this, because there are a ton of anti Chaim guys out there. But for me, I was just being honest and real about it. And I know that, I'm going to get attacked. I didn't realize this. Maybe it's me being stupid. I didn't realize this until like a year into taking the job with Nesson, that now I'm just going to get viewed in a different light, where no matter what I say, it's going to be like organizational propaganda, like ownership propaganda. But when I tweeted, the answer for me is somewhere in the middle, where I fully recognize what Chaim did to take the organization from the last place farm system and build them up to 5th, but then also recognizing that if you're going to have these questions about leadership and conviction and all that we've talked about a million times, then what you're saying is like, he was the guy, like, he served his purpose. He was the guy to get you to this point, but he wasn't the guy to get you to the next point. And I think that that's fair because, like, you know, we've mentioned about how we've thought that he should have gotten this offseason, but it's also completely fair that if the Red Sox had this feedback that, you know, teams like, you know, he's too picky, he's too indecisive and whatever, and he second guesses himself too much, then it's like this offseason is too important to not have someone in place to be making the decisions that you feel is best for the organization. Because this offseason isn't about development. It's not about building up the farm system. It's about building up the big league roster. And not that he hasn't done, or I can't say not that he hasn't done a good job. Not that he hasn't made good decisions there. Because we can go down the line on this team and point out a bunch of good decisions by Chaim Bloom. I think we keep using the term fatal flaw. The fatal flaw was the indecisiveness during trade deadlines, off seasons, trades, and you have to have some sort of balance in that discussion too, because there were like I think when you're evaluating a general manager or a chief baseball officer, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you're going to look at the decisions that were made, but it's hard to kind of keep score on the decisions that weren't made that were good. Like, it is still a decision to not make a decision, right? Like, if you don't
100%.
trade, yeah, like we're going to break down the Chris Cotillo piece, and he references, he uses the example of like, oh, well, they didn't trade Rafaela for Savale, and that nothing happened, but that's a decision to not do that, right? And it's hard to kind of keep score of that. We all just remember the things that do happen. Like this trade happened. That signing happened. Corey Kluber was your opening day starter. Like shit like that.
It's both sides, right? And you can kind of talk about, you know, the Ceddanne Rafaela, Aaron Savali conversation. You also kind of look at, we got the Justin Turner, Edward Cabrera thing come out. The Chris Sale, Texas Rangers conversation, which, Jared, I know we couldn't talk about it last episode. Maz has reported it, like straight from a source of his own. And we did a lot about it on the Baseball Hour. So, like, one of those things there where you start to match it up. I know people were guessing in the Section 10 subreddit, right? You match it up here. What's a team that fucking loves broken down pitchers? The Texas Rangers, Jacob deGrom, Nate Eovaldi, Max Scherzer, all down the list there. It is part of that, you know, whether you can make those deals or not. And I know people maybe are sick of hearing it in one way or the other, but the June Lee article from a year ago planted the seeds of everything that we saw happen this week. It's really where it goes back to where there was real doubts from people in that front office. People in that front office that still have jobs, as we know. Are we going to ever find out who they are? No. But, you know, Eddie Romero's still here. BOH may be in a different role. Raquel's still here. There were people in that room that believed he couldn't figure out how to bend his principles. Those moments when you have to say, I'm a little uncomfortable. I got to get out of my zone here and make the move. He struggled with those. And I thought there was a fascinating thing in The Athletic talking about what the Trevor Story and Masataka Yoshida extensions meant to him, and how even after he signed them, he was obsessing over it to some degree, whether it was the right move. Did he make, you know, should he have gone about it a different way? Were these the right ways to invest your money into this team? And that's something I think you kind of get a little nervous about when you're going to be handing out multiple deals of that length, right? We talk about 2 starting pitchers here. Those are going to be big deals. That's no joke. And that may not include maybe a move for an outfielder or some other part of the roster, a big trade to bring something else in. If you're kind of obsessing over those things, it plays more into this indecisive narrative. Now, I'd also be the same one to tell you this would have been his first full offseason to have everything in front of him, the farm system to deal from, the money at his disposal, and the young core at the major league level. Going into 2022, he didn't have that same young core at the major league level along with prospects. That young core we see now was emerging from the minor leagues. But 2022 as a whole, that's what really put the hole in Chaim Bloom's ship. And I think they gave him this year and said, well, can you kind of change our mind? Can you show us something? Where I sit and I question a lot now, and I think it's been the biggest thing that's wandered on my mind. If he picked a direction at the 2023 trade deadline, instead of just being indecisive, which was the common theme we're talking about here, do they look at it differently? If he said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to break it all down, or fuck it, I'm going to do as much as I can here to pull some parts in, maybe not even go over the luxury tax still, but maybe make that kind of big trade. Do they view it in a different way? I don't know, but it's that indecisive theme that we just can't escape days later. And I think that's why even the biggest Chaim Bloom believers have to say, if your question was whether he had the conviction to make those moves, even if you're saying it, how much can you really question ownership having that same question now too?
Well, the thing to me now that's bothersome is that if you say any of those things, you're now being, and Coley kind of was in this camp too. Like, you're just pushing the agenda of Red Sox ownership. They fired Chaim Bloom. Now they need to have everyone on board with it. I can sit here and tell you that I have talked to people who do not belong to the Red Sox organization, that have nothing to gain from Chaim Bloom being employed or not employed by the Boston Red Sox, who have said all of those things. Like, I question like whether or not I should just like read this text message. I'll just give you some like buzzwords from the text.
And this was from some time ago, correct?
No, this is after the firing. I mean, like they said, this person said similar things after Bogarts, but then kind of like doubled down now after the fact. Things like having no feel for the players. Indecisive, another word here. In over his head. Sox will be better off without him. Like, this is someone that is like in the baseball world, doesn't work for the Red Sox, never did work for the Red Sox, has no reason to, carry out John Henry's orders. So, like, when you sit there and say, like, of course, like, everyone has an agenda, and now, like, you're carrying out the Red Sox agenda here because they fired him, and now they need everyone to be on board with the decision. Sure, I'm sure some information is going to come across your dashboard that is from the Red Sox. They want people to believe in, that they want people to be behind the decision that they just made because it's a big one. But I can tell you, that right there, like, those words were said by someone that has no connection to the Red Sox at all. None. So, like when we talk, I guess we can just kind of get into it now because there was like a couple of paragraphs that I want to highlight from the Castillo piece, which, like I said it to you before we started, all these reporters now are writing the shit that I've been saying fucking for months. Like, when I went on after the Bogarts thing happened, after this past trade deadline, and then when I started talking about how when I was asking around and I couldn't get a single vote of confidence that Chaim would be back, that he would make it out in November, this is all the shit that I was saying. Now everyone's fucking writing it.
It's a paper trail of a year, and like that's why even if you like Bloom and you want to see another year carried out, if this doubt exists there, I hope that the Red Sox prove it by their next hire. And that was a big point to me when I heard the news live. It's like, all right, if you're worried about that indecisiveness, does that kind of push you away from bringing someone in along like Bloom, who's new to the job, who's kind of learning what it's like to make these phone calls go back and forth? Are you looking for that experience going into an offseason where you need to make major moves? I can make sense of that. If you're talking about the dysfunction with Alex Cora, which we kind of got more and more towards, part of that Castillo piece, he talks about some of that as well, and where, this past trade deadline was another major moment for them where seemingly they weren't on the same page of where they needed to be. And we know Cora's spoken through the players at different points here. Well, do you look for a guy who was a former player to bring in here and connect with Chaim? Is it a Mike Hazen that has a relationship with this front office?
We'll get there.
There's so many different dynamics in that sense.
This is from the Castillo piece. One longtime baseball person with Boston connections made an interesting point shortly after the firing. Within the game, Bloom is thought to have a fatal flaw: indecisiveness. That may have prohibited him from being able to truly get the Red Sox over the hump. Bloom's methodical, careful approach works when it comes to building the farm system over time, but is seen as too tentative at times when aggressiveness is needed. Considering the Red Sox will need to outbid teams and fully embrace a get-your-guy mentality this winter, it's fair if ownership viewed him as the wrong fit to do so. So that, to me, is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the answer is somewhere in between. Was Chaim Bloom the right person for the job at the time that he was hired? You can make the case, yes. Yes. He carried out your request to trade Mookie Betts. He built back up your farm system. But where is the Major League roster? They're in last place again. So when Jeff Passan is going on radio saying it's impossible to build up a farm system, stand to the luxury tax, and win at the same time, well, that last box that you need to check. That's why when you ask around about some of these people that cover the team, are you a little surprised that he didn't get the offseason? Well, yeah, because this would have been phase 2. You build up the farm system, you get under the luxury tax, and if you're being reasonable about it, now's the time that you try to win. Like, this is the offseason where you go out and spend a fuck ton of money and bring in talent from the outside and maybe pull off a trade or two, because I can't remember if it was you or someone else, maybe Cole, I can't remember who made the point, but yeah, you had all these talented players in the Red Sox system that you could have traded, but they hadn't progressed to the point that they're at right now. So like, their value right now is not what they were a year or a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, why didn't you make any trades? Well, the Roman Anthonys and the Marcelo Myers and the Nick Yorks of the world, like, they weren't at the point that they're at right this second. So the plethora of prospects, like, they didn't have nearly the same value that they have right now.
It's the young core you're watching at the big league level. Like, unless you were going to trade Tristan Casas, or even what was remaining of Jarren Duran's stock as it kind of went up and down in 22 at that point, or in 2022 at that point, Brian Bayo, like, those were the guys that were pushing you up these farm system rankings. Well, now that's the young core. The exciting thing is you have that young core, plus you have all these names coming up. And part of that, is Wilyer Abreu and, Emmanuel Valdez to a lesser degree, but these names that have pushed their way to the top. Josh Winkowski even fits into that conversation. A Cutter Crawford, who's established himself more. A lot of those younger pieces that had value, you needed to become the foundation of this current Red Sox team. Now it's about supplementing them with those big additions, plus the next wave and what you can do with trades through that.
This was another interesting note from the Cotillo piece. In the days leading up to the trade deadline, a veteran American League scout reached out to note that the Red Sox, that there were back channel talks in baseball circles that the Red Sox might have given Bloom a postseason or pink slip ultimatum in late July. While still unconfirmed, it's clear now the possibility of Bloom's ouster was very real within the game as far back as 2 months ago, which goes back to when I said ownership was not happy about the trade deadline this year. That is something that we said on this podcast. Now, so when we do this show throughout the year, we have people saying, well, they don't have any sources. Like, who the fuck are they talking to? Who the fuck do they know? I floated shit literally going back to last year that is just now being confirmed by journalists now. Like, I was giving you all this shit in real time as it was happening. Now that Heim's gone and people don't need to maintain their relationship with him anymore, now that shit is being reported publicly. You are getting it in real time listening to this podcast. Just wanted to note that. The note about the underdog t-shirt was also interesting to me, that Cotillo wrote that it was Cora and others downplayed the appearance of underdog shirts, a none too subtle reference to Bloom's explanation for his reluctance to strike big at the trade deadline in late August, but a clear message was being sent and Bloom wasn't in on the joke. I talked about this with Maz. I think Maz, every time I go in on Wednesday, he'll text me and be like, hey, what's on your mind? Like, what do you want to talk about tonight? And I think one of the times he asked me that, I was like, I think the underdog, you know what? I'm going to pull it up because let's see. Tony Maserati. When was it? Yes. Okay. Monday, August 21st. Any specific topics tonight? And I said, do you think they're wearing the underdog shirts as more of a fuck you to Heim more than it's something that they actually believe is the case? I don't know. It sounds like it was the case. Sounds like that he wasn't in on the joke. So I don't know. I just feel like we kind of saw through a lot of this shit as it was happening. And, you know, the vocal majority were shouting down at some of the notions that like these things weren't happening. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with, I mean, but you can go back to what, the chicken and beer shit, which should have never been a story to begin with. But a lot of the big news that gets broken in this market for the Red Sox specifically, 9 times out of 10, it's not getting broken by someone that covers the team on a daily basis. It's always someone national. And Joe Haggerty, a hockey reporter, was the one that put out the beer and chicken shit. Like, not that was a big story. It was stupid, but that's where it came from. It came from a hockey reporter. So any of like the little in-between shit that like the juicy tea, that's not coming from people that cover the team every day. It's just not.
No, and I think going back to that whole point about, first off, if we heard John Henry had given him some kind of a, alert, a pink slip that, hey, man, if you don't do something here, this is your job. I wonder if we would have even heard something in that light, or if it would have come out with how this front office acts. We know there weren't a lot of leaks. That's why the leak last offseason meant so much. That's why your comment after last year's trade deadline meant so much, with Sam Kennedy's comments following within 24 to 48 hours after that. Yeah. That's why it matters, because they were responding very quickly.
We appreciate Sam for listening. We do.
No, but like for real, that's the stuff you point to. Because if you want to talk about where it started, where this friction became reality for the Red Sox, it's that 2022 trade deadline.
What happened? What did I say?
Back then, you mentioned there's some rumblings that ownership wasn't, it was kind of similar to this year, but I call it a little less aggressive, that, hey, there's not a ton of happiness from the ownership level with how the deadline went. Yeah. It was basically that same message, and it might mean that they're questioning Heim or looking at things differently.
By the way, that doesn't mean that they're right, because, I mean, they turned Christian Vasquez into Wilyer Abreu, and fucking and
but it was the luxury tax. It was the luxury tax.
It was the JD thing. Like, you could have traded JD Martinez to the Dodgers and gotten under the luxury tax and fixed a lot of headaches, but there was a
Chris Sale.
Yeah, but there was a holdup over the fucking prospect coming back. And I'll even note this, that there's some scuttlebutt about that Chris Sale report, which, by the way, because I mean, I kind of, Rob Bradford reported it. He put it out there. When I was told that information, I was told, like, hey, it's interesting for you to know, but like, don't say anything. And I was like, fine. If people tell me to don't say anything, I won't say shit. But Rob Bradford reported it. And then I said, oh, by the way, this is what we bleeped out of the last podcast. And then after that, I was told that the way that it was reported by Rob, not entirely accurate. Yeah. So I was told it was not entirely accurate. But, I mean, I think the root of it is probably still true. I wasn't told what was inaccurate. I was just told that as it was.
I think probably him referring to them as prospects when it was really players, maybe. Because that was the difference between
the main takeaway there is that it was there an opportunity to trade Chris Sale and offload his contract? I believe that yes. That part of it, the backbone of it, the part that we care about, is probably true. Maybe the fact that it was prospects versus like slapdick players like the James Loney, whatever. No disrespect to James Loney, good guy. But you know what I mean? Like, getting back bodies versus prospects. Maybe that's the inaccuracy of it all. But yeah, it was just interesting to hear that it wasn't entirely accurate.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about this indecisive conversation, right, it's not only moves, it can be the relationship as well with Cora, right? That's a major part of this conversation. And clearly, the organization, I think all of us here, at least everyone I've talked to, I've yet to really find anyone that has ever said they're a Bloom guy over Cora. I think we've all always been AC first. We view him as one of the best managers in baseball. Now, it got rocky, right? Like, you see it on Twitter.
I've been saying that all along. Even, like, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Tony that didn't. I don't want to say it was Tony if it wasn't Tony, but there was someone in baseball media that I had this discussion with, either on the air or off the air, and I was like, if it comes down to having to pick between Cora or Bloom, Cora wins that battle 10 times out of 10.
What happened?
And they were like, I don't know about that. And I was like, I know about that. So like that, like Heim was never going to win that battle. It was never going to happen. And I don't know what the perfect comparison would be to describe that dynamic. But it's almost like if Chaim Bloom were the president of the United States, but like you don't get to know all the secret. You don't get to know if there's aliens or not. You don't get to know like if the JFK assassination, if there was a conspiracy. It's like, yeah, you're the president, but you don't get all the perks of being the president. It was almost like Chaim was in, but he wasn't in. Like Cora's in, like he. And I think I'll try and find exactly where Catillo talks. Okay, right here. Thursday's decision only confirms my theory that Cora has an immense amount of organizational power. It's clear Kennedy loves him, and though principal owner John Henry and team chairman Tom Warner will never tell the public how they feel, they must too. It's unclear if we're at the point where Cora gets to manage the Red Sox until he decides he doesn't want to anymore, but that doesn't seem far off.
Jen McCaffrey compared it. He's like, or she said, I wouldn't call it Terry Francona where you can manage until, you're done here, but it's along those lines. We're getting into that. I think the way to look at it is Alex Cora's family. Heimblum worked for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
If this were the mob, like Cora's a boss.
That's it.
He's one of the bosses.
He's part of the family.
Yep. And I got that sense almost immediately. I actually went back today and rewatched not the entire press conference, but like the Red Sox on their YouTube channel put out this kind of like a montage of Heim's introductory press conference. And when you go back with hindsight and listen to it, like there's a lot of like parts where it's like, that just kind of like stand out as like ominous today with the full context of how it played out. But at the end of the day, I think to kind of go back to like the search for Heim's successor, do you buy into this idea that because the tenure of this position has its presidential terms, like you get 4 years, and even the dudes that win championships, it doesn't even guarantee that you get to stay.
I think there was a great last line. It might have been Catillo's piece. It was like, if you don't win, you go home. Even sometimes if you win, you go home. Like that was the way they framed it. And I was like, that is the perfect way to put it. You can do what Dave Dombrowski did and get the team to a championship. But if they look at the infrastructure and they're like, this ain't fucking working, they're going to kick you too. And that's the hard part with this combo, right? Because I don't think it's going to affect, like if you want Brandon Gomes, right? A guy like that, someone who wants a job. There's 30 of these jobs and you're telling them they're going to go to the Boston Red Sox where they're seemingly ready to spend, go all in with everything on the tool belt. Here's everything. Those guys will be interested. It's pulling the Chris Antonettis of the world who have security in Cleveland. They don't have anything to worry about. We see how much
Tomasi made a really good point about Antonetti. If you've been working with Terry Francona for the last 12 years, and we know how Terry Francona feels about this ownership group, why would you be like, that sounds like a great opportunity?
And that's where you kind of find that hard part there. And I think it carries a little bit to some other guys like a Brian Sabian or whatever it may be that have been around in baseball that understand kind of what it is. But yeah, for a young guy who's looking for a first opportunity, I think you look at this and you still jump. If you have security in this league already, even a Mike Hazen who has, a lot of family stuff that's also happened the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And he was here. Like he fits right into that. Mike Hazen was here.
But he also has local roots as well.
Abington High, I believe. So like those all factor in here. Maybe it is someone like a Brian Sabian who's like, fuck it, dude. I'm like 67 years old. They can fire me in 4 years and I'm ready to retire. But if you're talking about long-term stuff, trying to figure it out here, it's scary. There's going to be certain guys that say no. I still think there's going to be a very wide selection, but I think there will be a couple people that say, I'm good because I just don't want to deal with it. I have security.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the candidates that are out there right now, they've got nice, cushy jobs. Hazen's got kids where they're kind of at that age where do you really want to pull them out of school where they're at? Like they're at that age where they have lives, like people never consider that part. It's like, oh, Mike Hazen, he used to be here. He came up in this organization and he's from here. All right, boom, bring him back. But, he's got kids that they have whole lives where they're at right now. And the D-backs are on the up and up. It's not like, man, please save me from this hellhole that is, the West Coast and low expectations and a budding organization that has a chance to maybe compete that randomly will just splurge in the free agent market and spend a fuck ton of money out of nowhere. Like, it's a nice place to be. And there's not a 4-year like win or go fuck yourself expectation.
What if you're James Click and you're like, dude, I know it's only a matter of time before someone hires me. Is this the one I pick? I already have a World Series. Like, do I jump? Do I go nuts for that? It's fair to question.
Do you really want to open that can of worms where Click and Cora kind of get back together?
Or do you really want to open that can of worms where James Click is very close with Chaim Bloom and you're fucking firing a guy that Bloom recommended to join Tampa Bay? What kind of PR look is that for the Boston Red Sox? That you're firing basically this guy's buddy, like a guy that followed in Bloom's steps and wrote a baseball prospectus and did all this stuff. There's a lot of layers to all this conversation here. That's why some of the Astros stuff too, where you're talking about bringing different names that were over there in the relationships with Cora, like. It's rocky. It's hard, man. It's not an easy fix here because whatever you're walking into, you need to accept. Alex Cora is here and he's not going anywhere. You need to learn to live and get over that. For first-time job guys, I don't think that's a big deal. For guys who've been around in baseball for a long time, I think it's a bigger deal.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to hit a read and you'll answer the question on the other side. But let me ask you this question, Tyler. Because of the turnover, this may not be an appealing job for a lot of people, like we just mentioned, that have cushy jobs elsewhere. But Chaim Bloom has left the Red Sox in a rather favorable position. If you were an executive, how appealing would this job be to you? But first, football is back in full swing with another week of epic games, and who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet just $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Nobody's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared, to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
Okay, so to my question. You're an executive, and I know we just talked about how it really is a case-by-case basis. Because with Hazen, Click, like, it's a different answer for every person. But let's just take away like the family stuff and being best friends with Chaim stuff. Let's just say you're an executive with the Miami Marlins. Is this a job that is appealing to you?
Fuck yeah. I'm looking at payroll that I can spend, a farm system in front of me, and a young core that's already succeeding at the MLB level. Not from a team base point, but at least like Tristan Casas, Brian Bayo, you can lock those guys in. You see the vision, right? I get it. I look at the bullpen. I see the vision. It all makes sense. Yes, it's a good position to come in. When you look at someone like Chaim Bloom and what he walked into last time, think about that when you kind of consider the scope. And I know some people have gotten upset with the, Chaim Bloom left the organization in a much better place than when he entered. It's very true. And I think that's what it is. Bloom walked into an extremely hard situation. He tried to walk the tightrope. Was it possible to succeed? It was. I'm not going to call it impossible. 2021 proved that. But still, no, this is a very interesting job. I think the only time you're going to have a little bit of a struggle or maybe uninterest there is if you have a ton of security, long-term security. But how many guys have that in the sport of baseball? Very few. That's the same reality as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give it like a B plus. B plus, maybe I watch the A minus because there is some concern with ownership and how up and down they are. But if you just look at it and say, well, if they're going to treat me like Dombrowski, I'm at least going to get a shot to go fucking nuts here. I can go crazy and see what happens. It may cost me. Yeah. Did Dave Dombrowski have an issue finding a job? And his resume goes well beyond the Red Sox. That's part of it as well. But if you win a ring here, you're going to get a job elsewhere. Ben Cherington's also proof of that. So as hard as that breakup might eventually be, there's options for you. I think Chaim Bloom's going to get another job one day as well. It'll just be a small market team.
I think Chaim is in a position where he's employed as soon as he wants to be. Because
at least as a number 2.
Like Mike Hazen, Chaim has now put down roots here. Like he's got 2 kids. His wife is from around here. Like he may just chill for a little bit, like I think that there's a world where Heim doesn't enter a front office for a little bit,
I wouldn't blame him. And I guess I'd look around if I was Heim Bloom and I'd say, I understand the rush or whatever it may be. Look, James Click, obviously a little bit of a different situation. Take a lesser role in a front office, go do your thing there and just keep resume building, keep making connections. Heim Bloom is well liked in baseball. Maybe there are a lot of people that question whether he can be the number one guy. That's fair. Heim Bloom's never going to have a hard time finding a job because he rebuilt the farm system. He showed he can go find these little diamonds in the rough, whatever it is. But there is a difference between the number one alpha and those guys. And so far, I think Catillo's column said it as well. There's people in the game that think Bloom will get better over time, that this is something he's going to have to learn from, except that he wasn't ready to make some of those big moves. How many times have we seen someone's first job not work out and then they work out in the next one, or something snaps or they get another opportunity? I watched Billy Epler get multiple fucking opportunities.
Like Terry Francona when he was in Philly and then he became a god everywhere else that he went. I mean, I know it's different roles. It's a different job, but it's, you can get better. You can be viewed differently. I think with Heim, it sucks because it's almost like you know how valuable he can be. Because I would love for him to still be here in a number 2, number 3 role.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Like, think back to the Theo Epstein days. I hate to bring up Theo again, but you had Theo Epstein, Mike Hazen, Jed Hoyer, Ben Cherington.
The pipeline of pipelines.
Everyone was there. Like, they were all working together in the same organization. Like, no one had an ego about it. I'm sure they all had aspirations to one day be general managers in the big leagues, and they all did become general managers in the big leagues. Some were more successful than others. But when they all put their brains together, they built 2 championship teams together. And the infrastructure was there. I think the more interesting part about the Heim era is the stuff that you talked about on the last podcast. I forget what column it was in, but when you talked about how like the Red Sox were essentially in the fucking Stone Age with their infrastructure, and he came in and rebuilt the whole analytics department.
That's something that people don't talk about enough. And they laughed at me on the baseball hour when I brought it up because I get it. We're getting deep into it. R&D for the people who didn't listen last episode. But, a department that had 8 or 9 people, you talk about wanting to be like the Dodgers, the Braves, the Astros. It's up to 33 or 34 now. So what is that? Quadruple? 4 times? If it was 8? When Dombrowski was here and him and Tony La Russa were fucking locking themselves in the room and chopping it up together, doing whatever, they fell behind. Now it's by far the most turnover. And someone had another note, I think it was Alex Spear over the last couple of days. It's the most turnover they've ever seen in growth in the department since Theo became, the GM here and all that played out. That's how much, growth he had in that department. And Spear talked about what it meant to Brian Bayo in the minor leagues, Cutter Crawford, Tristan Casas learning to hit for more power as he was coming along, really speaking to a lot of prospects that, are Dombrowski guys, but took major steps. Tanner Houck. Do people remember who the fuck Tanner Houck was in 2020 at the ATS site? There wasn't a person that ever thought he had a chance of starting. You were hoping he was a fine reliever. And then he took steps, even though he hasn't become a successful starter. We know now he'd at least be an elite reliever. Those things, that growth, there were pitchers that never had any kind of growth. Even a John Schreiber in AAA, what he figured out before 2022. A lot of that pipeline work Heim Bloom did. He did a lot of the dirty work to catch this organization up. That means something across baseball. To the everyday fan, it doesn't mean much, but it is important if you want to be like those top tier organizations. You don't happen like that overnight.
The more we talk about it, the more I come away from it all thinking, I wish that there were a way that they could have kept him while also getting someone to put above him. And
you said that way, but you probably felt that way about Cherington back in the day too, where you wish Cherington would have stayed, but you understood why he left.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, like Ben Cherington had been in the organization for so long. And whereas like Heim, it's like, all right, yeah, like you've been here for 4 years. I think it was a different situation because it was it was a little bit more of a slap in the face to Ben because Ben had been here forever. I believe since like 2000?
Yeah. And he won a World Series here.
I think he predated
the main guy,
the Henry Warner Lucchino ownership group. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he did. And then finally works his way all the way up to being general manager, wins a World Series, and then the Red Sox were like, actually, we're putting someone above you. He was predated them?
Yep. Charrington served Boston as an area scout, baseball operations assistant, coordinator of international scouting, and assistant director of player development from 1999 to 05.
There you go. So that situation to me was a little bit different because he had been here for so long. He worked his way all the way up to the top. And then the Red Sox were like, hey, I know you just won us a World Series, but we're actually going to move in a different direction. And maybe that was, I mean, it's hard to argue the end result because it's like, yeah, we won a world. I think the difference between Ben Cherington and Dave Dombrowski is that, no disrespect to Ben, I think he's a great baseball executive, but we would probably all sit here and say he fell ass backwards into the 13 World Series. Like no one sat there at that spring training besides Dustin Pedroia and said, this is a World Series title contending team. In 2018, we were like, this is the fucking best Red Sox team ever. Like there was no doubt that team was going to go wire to wire. And then you see, there's no guarantee in the playoffs. I can't imagine I don't know how many teams, it can't be, I don't know, more than what, 20? How many teams had the best record in baseball and then went on to win the World Series? I'm sure like in the wild card era, because I'm sure it used to happen all the time when it was only white people and there was like 5 teams in the league. I'm talking like 30 MLB teams in the wild card era. How many teams had the best record in baseball went on to win the World Series?
This doesn't exactly apply, but it's a kind of good way. Since 1969, only 12 teams have claimed the best record and gone on to win the World Series.
Okay, so it doesn't happen that often. But you get my point that Dave Dombrowski's title was I don't want to say it was more legit because you can't fluke a championship, in my opinion.
The foundation was laid. Like the foundation was completely put in place. Dave Dombrowski, could you make the major move? Could you put the finishing touches to level this whole roster up?
Mm-hmm.
Could you bring them from a young, up-and-coming team to the one that's going to compete at the very top of the World Series? He did that. That's what Dave Dombrowski does, and he's great at it. But he also uses every asset possible to the point where you're the 30th ranked farm system. And yeah, some of those names are good prospects today, good MLB players, but they didn't have value then. They weren't tradable assets. That was the limit on flexibility that Chaim Bloom entered with, and he had to figure out.
I don't know how much I'm willing to say.
Okay.
But between 2 different conversations that I've had since our last podcast, I'm very excited about this offseason.
Huh. All right. Let's put it like this. Are you hearing anything along the line of names, the guys they're interested in? Because we got the Peter Gammon stuff we haven't hit on yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Okay, so more just like you're going to like how we're approaching it this offseason.
Yes. From the 2 conversations that I'm referencing in my head, I already sense a change of tone and a change of attitude and a change of desire to be great.
Matching the energy of Sam Kennedy's comments after the Chaim Bloom firing.
What was the exact quote?
I had it in front of me. It was about being in the business of winning World Series. That's really where he was putting the emphasis. It wasn't about building up any more infrastructure. It was, hey, we're here to win World Series. That's what the Boston Red Sox are. We need to fucking do it.
Yeah. Like I maybe in a later episode, maybe I'll consider. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but I will say that reading those 2 conversations, like it gives you like, let's fucking go energy. Like that, now, like that's what it makes you feel.
If I had to have you go back in the catalog, Jared, of all the years, because like you outdate me, obviously, would you say the comments match the energy? Like, is there an offseason you remember the Red Sox going into that you heard things like this and it kind of was similar in your head, at least in terms of how they were approaching things?
Maybe before the Price signing.
That's a major deal. All right.
Yeah. I think maybe back then you kind of felt the groundswell of like, all right, fine, fuck it.
We're done fucking around.
Yeah. Like, no, you just woke up the bear type deal. But I mean, they still have to go out and do it. It's different now. Like the landscape of Major League Baseball and spending and just the overall competitive field, it's different now compared to even just back then. And, going into 2016, it was December of 2015 that they signed David Price. and you really didn't feel like you were competing against very many serious contenders. Dude was a Cy Young Award winner. He was outstanding in Toronto going into his free agent year or his free agent offseason. But you didn't really feel like who are you competing against? You weren't competing against the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets. Like you were competing against the St. Louis Cardinals, who were an unserious contender. Like they made him a solid offer, but like the Red Sox blew their offer out of the water, and that's why he came here.
Didn't give a fuck.
Did not give a single fuck. And it's like, all right, yeah, you paid way more than the Cardinals were willing to offer, but what the Red Sox offered price was right on par with what Zach Greinke just got from the D-backs. So like it was still like it was almost like the Cardinals offered undervalue, and then the Red Sox just met the fair market value of what David Price should have gotten. But they were the only person to really get close to that number.
I think that's where Jeff Passan was spitting in his comments, where he was talking about the rest of the league coming up and why the Red Sox, the way they were spending the last couple of years, where you were either right below the luxury tax or just over it, other teams. And that's because like the Mets, the Padres, these teams that were not spending anywhere in those realms, they now do. They're Texas Rangers, you throw into that conversation. There's a different financial landscape, and as other teams step up into that conversation, that's where you're going to be at. Even the Astros and the Braves and how they go about things now. It's harder to even walk that line of the luxury tax. That's why when you're the Boston Red Sox, yeah, you need to use that financial punch a little differently. You need to be even stronger. It's not just being around that luxury tax line or going a little bit over it anymore. No, you need to act in some degree. When the core and foundation are ready, when everything's under or put together underneath you, then you should start taking those swings going $40 million over. That's when you try to be like the Dodgers who do it right. But very easily you can end up like the Mets or the Padres, those other teams that have done it.
Yeah.
It's just about having the right guys on the team, the right guys in the dugout. It's the whole system that has to work together, or else it blows up like any other team you spend money on. Just because teams that spend money failed doesn't mean they're wrong. And just because teams that spend less, have had success, that doesn't mean they're right. You're the Boston Red Sox. You need to find the right balance there.
Yeah. So I wanted to point this out and not to just target Coley specifically, because my original agitation about when I said it's a cheap pop to be like, fuck the luxury tax, like how Coley was saying, it originally started in a conversation that I had with AJ Pierzynski. I went on Foul Territory, and like I'm talking about like the Mookie Betts thing comes up and the Red Sox spending, and like I just simply cite the Red Sox not getting under the luxury tax and how that fucked things up. And then Pierzynski gives me this fucking rah-rah speech. Like, I wish I had the clip in front of me. I can find it. But his tone of voice was like, he was like, yeah, well, I'm about to dunk on you real quick. Fuck the luxury tax and fuck these are billionaire owners. And then he changed his tone real quick, because that week was when he had the broadcast for the Red Sox was it Red Sox Yankees that was on Fox?
I believe so, yes.
And then on the broadcast, he goes, well, I mean, I totally get the luxury tax and all this and this. Totally just completely flip-flopped, which is why I was like, the people that are like, fuck the luxury tax, these owners are billionaires, fuck them, spend the money. It's like, I get all that, but it's a cheap pop, because obviously fans are going to be like, yeah, fuck the billionaires. But on the last episode, when I was debating this with Coley, I was like, it's so lame to be like, I don't give a fuck about the luxury tax. I was like, every team does this. Every team gets under. And
this
then
was what I disconnected.
I brought up the Dodgers. And I said, even the Dodgers, the team that Mookie Betts went to, that spends a fuck ton of money, they get under the luxury tax. And then there was a Reddit thread on the Section 10 page. It says, Dodgers, CBT. I have no idea why nobody has pointed this out yet, but I'm pretty sure the Dodgers went over the luxury tax this year. Jared kept saying they went under this year, so I'm very confused. I didn't say they went under this year. I said, this is a team that's went under recently. They did go under. They went under in 2020, and they went under in 2018. So when you talk about these billionaire owners and these teams that spend a fuck ton of money and they blow past the luxury tax threshold, guess what? Even those teams go under. They have to reset. So you can complain about, oh, these owners are billionaires and like, who cares about the fucking luxury tax and yada, yada, yada. Are you with me, fans? Woo! Like, you can do that, but you don't sound smart when you do it. Like, if you're looking at the Red Sox specifically, like they're the only team that goes under to reset. No, not true. Not true at all.
No, the picture has changed a little bit this year. I'll be the first one to tip my cap to it, where we had never seen a team go over 3 years in a row. 2 teams did that this year for the first time. The Dodgers, who did everything in their power to get under. It was all about waiting for Shohei this offseason. The Trevor Bauer situation, fuck them. Fuck them completely, and they got stuck over it. Now they are in uncharted waters. The Padres did everything in their power. Go look up the articles. You can read them. I've done my research. They did everything to get under the trade or under the luxury tax at the trade deadline in 2022. They couldn't pull it off. Now we're seeing them do something we haven't seen. Maybe that does change the calculation, but that's the first time we're seeing it. People forget, even in 2020 with the Dodgers, the reason they waited to trade for Mookie Betts and do that was they were waiting for the right moment to blow past that luxury tax and go nuts. The Mookie Betts trade was the signal of that. But why did they luck out and stay under it that year? David Price. David Price opted out and it kept them under.
Correct.
Now, yeah, they are in uncharted waters here. We haven't seen the 3 years. And do I tell you as a Red Sox fan, it's fair to look at, John Henry and say, well, if they're in the position, hopefully 3 years down the line from now, after 2 great years, yeah, it should be a real conversation if we're seeing other teams do it. But infrastructure matters. Where the Red Sox were when you had fucking, what was it, Cameron Cannon you were drafting because your pick was pushed 10 back and you have the 30th ranked farm system? No, that's a major fucking problem. And that's where the Red Sox were at that time. We also have a new CBA in place now.
Correct. So I just wanted to make that point. I forgot about the Pierzynski conversation because that really pissed me off. It did. It's just like you have, like whenever you have you want to have a conversation about baseball and the inner workings of it. But when there's just a fundamental misunderstanding about how this shit works, it's so easy to quote unquote win the argument when you're like, you're just sticking up for the owners. Fuck the luxury tax. Yeah, bring down the billionaires. Like, yes, you're going to get a loud cheer from the fans. But all you're saying is, I don't get how this shit works, but fuck it. Who cares? People are agreeing with me. It's just not how it works.
That's the whole economic landscape, I think. And if I remember, what was it, 2021 with the Yankees, people were pissed when they stayed under it, right? Wasn't that how they had gone about it at the time? And then they were like, no, we're going to go crazy the next 2 years. If I recall off the top of my head, as we've seen the last 2 years, they've gone nuts. They're 270, 280 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking a year from now if they're trying to slip under and do their thing as they have young guys step up and reset the entire organization with a young core.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like every team does it. Every team does
teams trying or do everything in their power. They get caught in between. That's what it is. For some teams, like if you're a Padres fan, oh my God, you're fucking crying because you're like, shit, like we weren't able to reset and we still suck. If you're a Dodgers fan, obviously it's not going to probably work out for you this year because you're pitching, but at least your team's still really fucking good. Mm-hmm. But there's only one Dodgers organization in baseball. There's a reason why we look at them as the kings.
Blue Moon is the king of all beers. Did you know that?
The best.
Yeah.
Had one yesterday.
I love the fact that people are just now tweeting us pictures of their Blue Moons that they're drinking at ballparks across the country. Makes me feel good that people are enjoying an ice cold Blue Moon at a ballpark somewhere. Because it was born in a ballpark. Did you know that?
Really?
Yes. Jake, tell us more, please.
Even under the bright lights of the playoffs, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is the beer that's made brighter. Blue Moon was born in a ballpark for baseball fans, first brewed at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. From its bold, refreshing flavor to its beautiful, bright color, Blue Moon is as iconic as America's pastime. Tyler's claiming he had a Blue Moon at the 99 the other night. I don't buy it. I got a lot of people tweeting me asking me to investigate further, and upon further investigation, it was not a Blue Moon. And even if it was, he didn't even have a Valencia orange peel for subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, so how the fuck would he even know that Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter? He obviously doesn't know it's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Fucking idiot. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball, so it's the perfect match for the playoffs. The crack of a beer, the pour, the first sip of that bold flavor, Blue Moon always feels like a special occasion. Best served with its signature orange garnish, Tyler, to showcase its beautiful bright color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all through the playoffs. Brighten up the baseball playoffs with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Check out shop.bluemoonbrewingcompany.com for fresh baseball merch and visit get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to find Blue Moon delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Thank you, Jake. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that we're basically an hour into this podcast and we haven't even mentioned I guess like before his injury, the fact that like consider the source. It's Peter Gammons. Sometimes he just throws shit out there. Sometimes he's right. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. But sometimes he'll tweet shit and you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
This made a lot of people, just in terms of hype. It was some of the craziest hype I've seen, at least Red Sox Twitter related, for an offseason move in a while. I will admit that.
Peter Gammons, was this yesterday?
2 days ago.
2 days
Friday.
ago. I gotta pull up the tweet because I think he called him like snow hay or something.
Oh, yeah. And there were a couple tweets before that earlier in the day that were definitely Gammonsy in terms of how you
Peter Gammons retweeted you?
Oh, yeah. Gammons follows me. Big fan.
Wow.
Listen, me and Peter Gammons, we're tight.
Okay. 2 days ago, NL executive long familiar with Shohei Ohtani believes he is interested in Boston, partly because of his relationship with New Balance CEO Jim Davis. Bo Sox problem. Masataka Yoshida has to DH. Ohtani off TJ must DH. Sox money mostly going to pitching. Okay. So Shohei Ohtani is interested in coming to the Boston Red Sox. Is it weird that tweet did virtually nothing for me?
No, because, let's be consistent here. We talked about some Gammonsy things that have come out recently that we've heard, or at least you've heard. On the Durant side, obviously, both heard. Things that just shut them down or didn't really match up with what was being discussed, right? And even if you want to go to the Boston Globe, what they had on the Paxton trade, it made his report on the James Paxton request look pretty rough in terms of what the conversation was overall. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those things here where people saw Chaim Bloom is fired, people are talking, and now it's like, well, here come the Red Sox. What's the craziest thing we can attach to them right now? Is Shohei Ohtani.
So there's a lot to discuss here with Shohei. Shohei Ohtani, best player maybe ever? Maybe
Easily.
ever?
Yep.
Okay. Well, he's getting Tommy John. The Red Sox need pitching. And I know Loomer. He's out on Shohei. He's like, they already got it. They already have like 3 DHs. Maybe Turner comes back. Don't know. Devers maybe falls into that category. Yoshida. They've got DHs. And you bring in a guy like Shohei Ohtani, and now you've got another DH. Because he can't pitch. He's not going to play the field. Is it a big time PR move? It is.
It's the biggest PR move you could ever make.
Ever.
Besides
ever.
maybe bringing Theo back.
I want to, all right, so here's my question. If you sign Shohei Ohtani, what does that contract look like? Because if it has an opt-out after year 2, then I'm not interested. He's going to come back here to DH and rehab and then go get his $600 million somewhere else to go be the MVP again. Like, he's not going to win MVPs as a DH. Great hitter. But like, did we ever look at the Red Sox offense this year and be like, man, they really need to upgrade some thump in the middle of the order? No. It would be nice. It would be nice to have. I'm not saying it's such a fucked up conversation to sit here and be like, I'll pass on Shohei.
Well, you just sound like a
make
dickhead.
your team better. But like, it's kind of true. If you're going to spend a fuck ton of money. So I think that the real question that needs to be asked is, if you sign Shohei, does that mean no Yamamoto? Because the Red Sox need pitching. The Red Sox need pitchers. They don't need a pitcher. They need pitchers. And right now, that's not what Ohtani is. And it depends on what the contract looks like. What if it's a 6-year deal with some option years, but there's an opt-out after 2? What the fuck does that do for me? All that does is create chaos on my roster for like the next 2 years where we're trying to win.
And that's where I think you look at like Gammons talk about Yoshida being you're not going to sit and have Masataka Yoshida as your reason for not going to get Shohei Ohtani.
No.
He is not so bad in left field that you cannot imagine him playing it for another year or 2 or getting by. It's about filling those pitching holes and what you need next year. It's great. Shohei Ohtani, the bat, we get it. He's going to be he's one of the better hitters in baseball. There's no denying that. And I still think he's going to get a $500 million contract. I really do. Because I think there's going to be owners like Steve Cohen, like, over in the Dodgers, Andrew Freeman running that front office that have been waiting for this kind of fish. They realize how big it is to land the greatest baseball player of our lifetimes here. They're going to go completely nuts. I think where the Red Sox are at right now, yeah, while you have all this money to spend, you also don't just spend money unlimitedly, stupidly. We know that doesn't work either. The Mets are proof of that. I think it's just lining up those costs, because if you need not only one ace, you need two. Can you somehow find two top of the rotation arms and then hand out the biggest baseball contract of all time? I don't care if you are in a new era of Red Sox baseball. That is, you're getting to $300 million and having more conversations. I just can't envision that. And I'd argue it's just not the most efficient way of going about things.
So Tyler Milliken says, fuck Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, no, I'd host him and I'd have the visit. But you have to have real conversations about where it fits. And I think you can design a plan that probably makes more sense moving forward. If you want to win a World Series next year and say you only get one of those starters, and then you say, you know what, we're going to get Shohei Ohtani. Those two. Next year, you're going to look at that rotation. It's fun to think about the lineup. And it's a little, we're talking about them needing a right-handed bat. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's not saying you don't do it just because he's a lefty, but it's also that kind of issue continuing to be there where probably your three best hitters are all lefties. Can you sacrifice another arm in that rotation and expect to win a World Series this year? No, you need at least two. We're talking about two, and then we start having those conversations. It's a hard line to walk.
He just never shared the fact that he's like the biggest Hideki Okajima fan ever.
That's his main reason. Junichi Tozawa.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's like, I grew up watching Hideki Okajima. Okie dokie. He just loves the Okie dokie song. Do you know the Okie dokie song?
Yes, I trust me. Hideki Okajima, you want to talk about fucking fans? I was number one right in that line with everyone.
I got to find that. I tried to find it years ago, but motherfucker had his own song.
Jared, you would know. Was he the last Red Sox player to be voted in via the fans for the All-Star game? Does that sound right?
In a stretch, I think was Veritek was the year before. I think Veritek was 2006. Damon was 2002.
Okay.
And I think maybe Youkilis was a fan vote at some point. I don't maybe Youkilis was after Okajima, but Okajima maybe was 2007.
I will say, in terms of the Shohei Ohtani conversation, and we've talked about Eddie Romero, right? Like, maybe he is the guy. If they go internal, who was the first guy when they started watching him? I believe in high school, 2012, going all the way back. Who was the first guy set to go watch him? It was Eddie Romero. And I tweeted out the whole presentation they put out for him when he came over.
Was the correct answer. Veritek was 2003. Damon was 2002. And then Okie Dokie in 2007. That was a song. Okie Dokie, Okajima. I got to find that fucking song. It's so good.
I haven't heard it in a very long time. But, you talk about Eddie Romero and all the work they did, how much time the Red Sox spent when Shohei Ohtani was coming over here trying to sell him on this place. It was clear, he considered Boston. The preference was always the West Coast. Obviously, he knows he made the wrong decision with the Angels now, but there's still a lot of that front office infrastructure here, in terms of assistant GMs and who knows what their positions will look like. They were as big Shohei Ohtani fans as anyone. Like, you can't, even if they were to go get...
Is this it?
Play it.
I mean, I don't know if this is it. I hope it is. How the fuck do I... This is like a random... Like, I'm definitely getting viruses playing this song.
It's good.
Honestly.
Good. Are you on YouTube?
Yeah, but this is like a... This is it!
Yo!
Yeah! Okie dokie. Yeah! This song's fucking awesome.
This should be our positivity horn song.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Okie dokie.
I'm cooking right now.
This song is fucking awesome. Woo. We just need to play this for Shohei.
Dude, there's people going nuts in their car driving to work on Monday morning right now.
Oh my God. Imagine you're sitting, it's August, you're at Fenway Park, it's 2007. This song just fucking starts pumping at Fenway.
Manny and Ortiz went back to back the inning before.
You got no shot, dude.
You're over. It's done. Pap just waiting his turn.
Wow. Yeah, it's still going. Let's go. Yeah. Okie dokie. Yeah. We gotta bring this back.
Why? Let's just let this play for the rest of the episode. No one wants to hear this shit. Play the song.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. We gotta get these people to come back and play this song live.
Hideki Okajima night, 2024.
Has he been back since? He had to have been, right?
I'm hoping.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I definitely think he has been.
What a fucking rush to hear that song live. Wow. I haven't heard that song in so long. Like, he came out of the bullpen to his own goddamn theme music.
It's when you know you're a dog. Come on.
Name one other person that's ever had their own theme song in
Okay.
professional sports like that.
Masataka Yoshida, but he chose not to bring it with him.
The Macho Man song?
And he was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it there out of respect to Hideki Okajima. That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
That's what the streets are telling me.
He wanted Hideki Okajima to be the only player that had their own theme song.
He knew. You don't think they're still not talking about Hideki Okajima's 2007 season when he had a 2.22 ERA in 69 innings, 6th in Rookie of the Year voting, All-Star? Please.
Oh, I fucking love the Okajima song.
Who finished ahead of him in Rookie of the Year voting? Dustin Pedroia, obviously. Delman Young, Brian Bannister, Dice K, Reggie Willits.
Yeah.
Remember
the
Reggie
Angels.
Willits?
Yeah. I do.
Well, now everyone is all hyped up and they want Hideki Okajima back in a Red Sox uniform.
Yeah. Good. If you're listening to this at night, good luck trying to go to sleep now. You're going to be ready to run through a fucking wall.
So, Ohtani, do you feel a similar way? How do you view it?
I need to see what the contract details look like. If he's got
Let's call it the
opt-outs that
5.
are
Say
early,
he's getting that 4 or 5. 4 that people are a little worried, but most likely it's 5.
guaranteed.
Yep.
If he's here for fucking of course.
500 million?
Fuck it. Not my money.
No, but in terms of building the roster out. Like, do you think that's the most efficient way of going about it for next
No.
year, or how do you view it?
No, it's not. But
You can't be sad at the idea of Shohei Ohtani coming in a Red
No.
Sox uniform, even if it hurt your roster a little bit next year. How can you even think about being
the
sad?
roster. Fuck the roster. I mean, but then you have to also ask yourself, like, how happy are Angels fans right now? They had Shohei Ohtani, but their team was a dumpster fire. So it's like, is it worth it in the end?
It comes down to really, and I'd be curious, John Henry, what means more to you? Is it just getting PR buzz, or is it actually trying to win the World Series?
I think it's both.
Right? It's an
I
interesting
don't
little
think it's
weighing.
fair to say they don't care about championships and they only care about ratings and all that shit. There was a time, like if you read Terry Francona's book, there was a time where they were like, yeah, we're winning, but we're not winning sexy enough. Like that was you never read Francona's book?
I remember way back in the day. I'm pretty sure I have it on my bookshelf over there, but I don't remember anything.
If you go back and like if you search like hashtag sex appeal from my tweets, it's a reference to that. I like ownership had like this meeting with like Theo and Francona, and they're like, yeah, we're in first place. We're on pace for 98 wins, but like we're just not sexy enough.
We're not fuckable.
We got to a point with this organization where we were so good and we were winning championships and getting to the playoffs every year. But they were just like, yeah, but like we need to be sexier. We don't have enough sex appeal. Like, look at Dustin. Is that sexy? No, that's not. He's bald.
Hey,
He's short.
hey, stop it.
I'm just saying. Those are their words, not mine. I think that Dustin is very attractive.
I would have piped.
Yeah.
Figuratively.
Clapped.
I'm trying to think of another word for sex.
There's a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think you'd be. It just sounds silly to say I'll pass on Shohei Ohtani. I get it. If that's if you're Loomer and you're sitting there saying I just don't get it from a roster construction perspective, like you're not wrong. But you make
Shohei
it work.
Ohtani.
You make it work. It's like, all right, he doesn't fit. Make it fit.
Well, it's not like you're waiting an entire year to get anything. Like you're gonna get fucking one of the best hitters in baseball for a year. So like it doesn't fit perfect, but who knows? If you have a chance to bring a generational baseball player to you, you need to heavily consider it no matter what. You're going full press.
I saw one take was like, what if he never pitches again and then you're just stuck with him just as a DH? Imagine saying that about David Ortiz. Like, dude, David Ortiz doesn't pitch. He doesn't play outfield, doesn't play first base. Like, this sucks. Really?
Let's be real, right? David Ortiz never was making $50 million a year.
I don't think he's going to cost that much.
You think it'll be lower than that?
For now.
Well, say it's like 10 years, 500.
Who gives a fuck, dude? It's Shohei Ohtani.
You're having the conversation, but there's fair criticism to how
I agree.
It all fits.
I agree. I'm not all in on the idea, but you can't just like shout it down. It can't be an automatic no right now.
That's crazy. Do you buy that will be a serious thing they consider?
I do.
I do too. I think just for the headlines, they're going to do it, but I think they'll be real about at least looking into it.
I think that they will be looking into it.
Let me see. I'm looking through the legendary little video they put together for him, right? Way back. And this was what they had on the board.
Where is that? Where the fuck did you see this?
It was from an Alex Spear article like 5 years ago. I started digging heavy when that Gammas tweet came out because I was like, people at work are talking about what they remember when he first was being connected to the Red Sox to some degree. And I was like, it's a little foggy in my head. I remember them being very interested. But this was from Spear. I guess you can dig back and find it. I'll send you the link. But their video, Boston is made for legends, history, champions, Shohei. And they did a huge part in building the video out around Babe Ruth and what he was able to accomplish as a member of the Red Sox and all those different things. Now you go back to 2018. They were also trying to outline the way they were going to make him a two-way player, how they thought all this was going to work. What were the other things that were part of this video? Their financial resources and willingness to spend aggressively in pursuit of championships. The Sox young core. So, you're talking at that point, Xander, Mookie, all that coming in there together. Obviously, Rafi too. And then it was a lot of featuring the different Japanese players that have come through here in recent years and been able to have a great career in Boston or at least start their career here. So they went full press about Titletown, about all of it.
Do you think they talked about Okajima?
Oh, they went even fucking crazier. He probably, after Babe Ruth, it was Hideki Okajima.
Right.
Ohtani teared down his face just playing the song. They're going absolutely fucking nuts.
We got glow sticks that they just like John Henry shuts the lights off and then they hit the Okajima song.
Club for the next 12 hours. The craziest drugs you've ever seen in your entire life.
Lucchino's dropping acid.
Oh, God.
Tom Warner's just got like a face full of like neon paint. Okajima, okie dokie. Great song.
Best song ever. God.
Jake, what do you think about the Red Sox signing Shohei Ohtani?
I mean, I'd take him for sure.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Who knows if I know people like jokingly made that connection, like, oh, New Balance is here, and I was like, what the fuck does that matter?
I remember, that was a point for people who were trying to picture a world where this could happen. It was the New Balance thing. I have a hard time believing that's what's going to sway him one way. Like New Balance and be like, Shohei, you didn't pick Boston? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
We're going to go find another guy to rock New Balance. Like, dude, it's Shohei fucking Ohtani. There's no higher ceiling than that. Is LeBron pulling up to wear New Balance?
Yeah, that
it's like
being
Shohei
the
and
reason,
Jack Harlow.
That being the reason that Gammon cited, I was just like, I don't get it. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, he has like
timing.
He has a deal with New Balance, but New Balance could be anywhere. Why does he need to be near New Balance? You don't think, like, when you have one of the best athletes to ever step foot on planet Earth, like if he signed with a team in Alaska and was like, hey, New Balance, move your fucking headquarters to Alaska, they'd be like, yes, Mr. Ohtani, anything you want, Mr. Ohtani.
They act like they got to send horse to communicate with them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can make a phone call or do a Zoom chat or do anything like that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. That's what made me kind of question, like, who fucking cares if New Balance is in Boston or not?
It's the same thing as the Yoshida part of it. It's like, it just doesn't really pass a sniff test in that
I
sense.
think that part helps.
I don't think Yoshida would have any impact on it, whether they pursue Shohei Ohtani or not.
I think that there is. I think that has. I'm not saying, like, the deciding factor is going to be like money, contract length, average annual value. Do you see me as a two-way player? What kind of medical staff do you have working? Like, it's all that shit. But like, to say that Yoshida being here has no effect, like, it's a very, 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 very small effect, but it's not zero.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, maybe the most minuscule. It's about where pitching money is going to be spent and what they need for this upcoming season. I think that's, like, outside of the money, by far the biggest component of all this equation.
Yeah.
Because, like, say what you will about Yoshida in left field, man. The Red Sox have had way worse out there for way longer stretches. Yoshida in left field is not a reason the Red Sox are where they're at right now. Not in the slightest.
You just shit on Cody Ross?
Oh, I fucking love Cody Ross. What are you talking about?
You do?
Yes. What? Do you remember the 2012 walk-off home run against the Chicago White Sox? Same day David Ortiz's Achilles flared up?
Yeah, I was there.
That was a great day for Tyler Milliken.
Mm-hmm.
First kiss that day.
Wow, that was the puke fair or whatever the fuck?
Well, no. This was like a much better, like, with the next girl.
Oh.
Much better moment.
Got it.
Like the first, like, you know? Do it with me.
What happened to Bullet?
He died.
Yeah, don't. No.
It's what you do.
That's not what you do.
It's what I do.
I
Shout out Martha.
Jesus.
She's getting excited listening to this right now.
I don't think she is. She just turned it off.
She just spun the wheel. Spun the wheel off the road.
Yeah, she's done. She don't want to listen to this no more.
When do you think we get our first real, like today, the Mike Hazen was the real leaking outside of the first day where we got, could it be David Force? Could it be Chris Antonetti? The Mike Hazen today was the first real report we've gotten since then. Do you view him as like someone you'd heavily consider?
Hazen?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to have Hazen back. I just feel like I have if his family were the reason why he didn't want to do it, like, I have so much, like, respect for that. Like, I think I'm not getting my hopes up for that reason. Like, I don't think that he wouldn't be interested in the job. I don't think that there's, like, this element of I'm sure he would love to come back to where he's from, but family is definitely going to come first in his situation. So I'm just not getting my hopes up until I hear otherwise, where it's like, oh, he's considering, or like the Diamondbacks are granting permission to the Red Sox to speak to Hazen. That'd be great.
And I think the other factor in this is last time before they hired Bloom, there was rumors of them being interested in bringing Mike Hazen back, immediately signed an extension then. Like, and he brought Emil Sade over there. So maybe if they feel like they can't get that conversation with Hazen, they go just the next level down and get, one of his assistant GMs, a guy who was also here. It was weird to me, though. I saw the report from Buster and, I'm not going to act like I'm watching Diamondbacks baseball, but I want to see what fan bases think, right? Because like you even see there's a different perspective on Bloom than what you see, outside of the Red Sox fan base. A lot more positive, I'd say, overall than negative. It feels like our fan base is more negative towards Bloom than anyone. But they are kind of very indifferent, leaning negative on him. And I know he's had one playoff appearance since he took over, 489, 531 overall record. There's been some bad trades. I don't think anyone's going to deny it. The Paul Goldschmidt trade, rough. Zach Greinke trade, rough. The Ketel Marte trade was okay. That had Mitch Haniger and Gene Segura in it. I'd call that a break even, but I like the Dalton Varsho trade they made over the offseason. And you can't forget Zach Gallen way back in the day and Jazz Chisholm. So, like most GMs, you're going to find good and bad to it. I think with Hazen, you're focusing and hoping more for him to come in and fit really well with what you have of Eddie Romero, Raquel, and all these people who've worked with him for a long time already. That's what you would be banking in on and hoping with more money he can hit a different level. And they've had a good year this year, fine year. But he also saw a full rebuild the previous 2 years where they lost 110 games, the year before.
They did. So that's kind of where we're at on the GM search. I feel like I'm not surprised that this time around that anyone who could potentially be a fit has been named already. Like I'm waiting for it to shake out for real consideration. Like you're gonna get this person's been ruled out. Like Theo was ruled out immediately. I'll say this about Theo.
Oh no, you're not about to make me feel things again, Jared, are you?
I'm just saying.
Whoa.
I'm just saying the way that it was phrased by Sam Kennedy, I am reading into that.
Okay.
Like he said, we're not considering Theo for any of these two positions. He didn't say anything about there's no chance that Theo comes back to the Boston Red Sox in any capacity.
Are we talking ownership here?
I don't know. I'm just saying I haven't entirely closed the door on Theo being involved with the Boston Red Sox in any capacity whatsoever.
Jared, you just lit an absolute bomb.
I mean,
I could see the tweet tomorrow. I could see the tweet from a couple different accounts. Mm-hmm. Jared Carabas didn't shut down the idea of Theo still being an option on Name Redacted.
I mean, it was an interesting phrasing, wasn't it?
It was an interesting phrasing, and I think the ownership compartment always is very, very interesting because we know maybe if Theo doesn't become commissioner and Rob Manfred just got another extension, is that his way?
He's too young to be the commissioner right now.
Yeah. Is that his way to reach another level? A level we haven't seen is become a partial owner. But I'd also say, do I trust FSG to let him in on the secrets, to let him into that book and see kind of what's happening in front of him where you really can't hide anything anymore? I don't know if they're ready for that kind of transparency with a new guy like Theo Epstein coming in who, we know how Theo operates.
Well, he's Theo's here to get shit done. But he's not a total outsider.
But it's been a long time since he was in the building.
Yeah.
You don't think a lot has gone on since then?
I think a lot's changed. Lots changed since 2011.
And he's going to see what has changed. A lot of the shit.
2011, Tyler Milliken never kissed a girl.
No, 2011, man. That was a dark time in Tyler Milliken's life.
That was a tough go around. It's a tough go.
I was rapping Bedrock on the way to school.
Don't do that.
I remember one of the most embarrassing moments of my childhood, actually. Shout out my friend Yaviel. Had him over, sixth grade.
Yeah.
On Xbox 360 at the time, you could buy music videos, right? And I don't know why it was so weird, but you could. And you could buy Bedrock. And people who've seen the Bedrock video, have you seen it, Jared?
No.
Jake?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's a lot of ass, whole lot of booty. I had it up on my computer, or not on my computer, on my TV screen on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. My dad comes home from work. Me and Yaviel are watching the video. Now we're bumping it. My dad's old school. My dad was born in 1951. So he's old. My dad was probably 60 years old at this time. He sees me. He goes, "Are you watching pornography?" And right in front of Yaviel, in front of my little sister, rips the Xbox out. Did not see it for weeks. Sent Yaviel home. And I had to sit there crying, trying to explain that I wasn't watching porn with my friend and that it was rap music. Did not go over very well.
Did he later come to grips with the fact that it was not pornography?
No. He'd be like, "Tyler, remember that time you were watching those women with your friend?" And then the next day I walk into school, my friend's like, "Yeah, dude, like Tyler got absolutely bodied by his dad when I was over his house yesterday."
That's
Rough
a bad
fucking
friend. That's a bad friend for kind of like ratting.
Cooked me, bro. He cooked me.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's gotta sting.
It's all right. You know, you live
No
and you learn.
loyalty from Yaviel.
Dog, when I tell you. People who listen to Bedrock, you know what's up? You know what's good?
Yeah. I've never said I'm gonna watch that music video now.
Ooh, Young Nicki, Drake's in it. Obviously Wayne. Cultural moment, Tyga.
Yeah. Cultural moment.
Bedrock was a cultural moment. People know.
Yeah. Yeah. That was in 2011?
No, it was. I think it came out 2009, but you know, I was a kid.
What?
Like you don't know what's really going on.
No way.
Yes, dude. Yes. Hold on.
2009.
Bang. Look at Tyler Milliken go.
I never would have guessed that.
Dog, I was out here. I thought I was hood bumping that song. 94.5. Jamming 94.5 in the car. Come on.
Is that the one that's like, I can make it better?
Yeah.
I can make it better.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
You spitting. You spitting. Baby. Want to
That
spend
one?
it all on you,
Yeah.
baby. My room is the G spot. Call me Mr. Flintstone. I can make your bed rock. Jake, whatever you have to do in production to make that sound good, make it sound good. Just add a little auto tune.
Yeah.
People are gonna be pissed. We went from the Okajima song to that.
Yeah. You kind of ruined it. You're gonna want to buy your Red Sox tickets for next year pretty soon because they're gonna have Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I don't know why I get hung up on Yoshinobu.
It's a little tough to come out. It's not easy.
That's his name though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yoshinobu.
I don't know if that's the the right pronunciation. What's the word?
Jesus Christ.
Damn it,
dude.
Pronunciation. Pronunciation.
Jake.
Fuck.
You can't even pronounce pronunciation.
It's a hard one.
It's not.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yoshinobu.
Is that the correct way? I don't know. Speak to me.
I don't know. But buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Kind of like pronouncing pronunciation. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. Am I going to any games for the rest of the year? Are you, Tyler?
No, I think I'm good for the rest. Oh,
I
we
think
had
I'm
talked.
good.
We had talked about if we were going to do that thing. Yes, I would come for that.
What
Things
thing?
have taken a turn. I don't want to say it because if we say it, people are going to get upset when it doesn't happen. Can you
What
believe
thing?
it, Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Interview.
Oh, yeah. We'll still do that.
I think that's fun. That's a good idea.
Yeah. We'll still do that. Yeah. How many home Fridays are left? What's today? Today is the 17th.
Yes.
They're not home this weekend coming up. They don't have any home Fridays left.
Wow. Well, 2 weeks from today, the season ends.
Yeah. We're out of home Fridays. Damn, I didn't realize that. So then I'll be there Tuesday the 26th. That's it. Yeah, I guess Tuesday the 26th, I'm done.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Thank God.
Do we have any thoughts from the games?
Well, hold on. I'm still in the middle of an ad read
Oh, excuse me. We're in an ad read?
right now. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section in row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you are set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone so you never have to dig through your email. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code REDACTED for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the promo code REDACTED for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You asked me if I have any thoughts about the games.
Yes.
No.
None.
Well,
you got to have something on sale.
No.
Nope.
I did find it very funny, the Catillo piece about Josh Winkowski.
I saw your response to that.
Yeah. Let me pull it up.
It wasn't the easiest day for him either.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
Couldn't get out of the inning.
Yeah, that was very tough to watch. Where is it here? Josh Winkowski will never forget how the Blue Jays traded him. Quote, I've always been a big chip on my shoulder guy, and sometimes I do the fake fire stuff. So I still hold a grudge against him today, to this day, even though it's probably not warranted. You mean to tell me that Josh Winkowski holds grudges for no fucking reason?
What?
No way. You mean he gets mad over shit he shouldn't get mad about and then gets pissed about it for months after the fact when no one cares anymore and it's like makes no sense?
Does that make you feel a little bit better though that it's more like a psycho thing than a like fuck you thing?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, no, it's still
it is a fuck you thing, but
yeah. Like, I mean, that's fine. Like, I have no intentions of ever fucking like I have no intention of speaking to him. But it gives more perspective on how his brain works for sure.
It would have been anybody. It's not because it's Jared Carabas.
I don't fucking know, and I don't. At this point, I don't care. But yeah, like it was just very funny to read that headline where he's just like openly admitting, I hold grudges that don't make sense for long periods of time. And I was just like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. Like, that's literally all I needed to hear. We're good here. We don't have to have the conversation. You're just a fucking lunatic. That's fine. Just pitch better.
Yeah, 3 walks in the same inning. Please spare me on that.
Yeah, spare me.
If you want any thoughts from me on the games?
No,
none. Overruling Tyler Milliken. All right, I'll tap.
What do you got? It's gonna be something stupid.
No, it's not something stupid. Brian Bayo setting a career high in strikeouts in the first game.
Pretty good.
Obviously, Vlad Guerrero Jr., the 3-run bomb, that was it. Doesn't matter when you get fucking 5 hits on the day. Just stop calling the 4-seamer low in the zone. It does not work. When Bayo doesn't throw the 4-seamer at the very top of the zone or above it, it's a 410 batting average against it. 6 homers given up on it over that, I guess, kind of portion of time or portion of the zone. When you're talking about it being lower, so not top of the zone, mid and down, it's a 161 batting average. So I don't know why they keep calling it. Please stop doing it. If that 4-seamer's up, it's going to the fucking moon every single time. Besides that, I don't know. Love me some Wilyer Abreu still, even though he hurt his hand going up against the wall. Would have preferred Ceddanne Rafael in center field for that moment, but whatever. He's playing second base. It's the end of the year. Who gives a fuck? Chris Sale, props to him. 10 whiffs on the slider to do what he was able to do with diminished stuff. I know it was as low as 88.8 on the fastball.
10 whiffs, but also like the first 9 strikeouts were on the slider.
Oh, like embarrassingly bad swings as well. Like we're not talking about, they're just missing. They could not pick up what he was throwing whatsoever. So, you throw that in. Nick Pivetta continues to do his thing. Not much on that last game. But yeah, for Bayo, the slider's working good. 4 whiffs on that thing. Just don't throw the 4-seamer up or above the zone because it does not work. 410, 6 homers, mid and lower, we're in good shape.
Jake's takes?
The Red Sox are just like playing exactly how I feel right now. It's like Wilyer Abreu crashing into the wall and toppling over himself. It's like exactly. Like I think that's how all Red Sox fans are just watching these games right now. So, and then we just have to come on here and just talk about like next series is going to be the exact same shit. So, kind of over it at this point.
Well, and we lost Tristan Casas, one of the main reasons to watch this team over the last 2 weeks. Probably done for the year.
What we lost in Tristan Casas. We gained in Bob Stop.
Death penalty.
He's back. Bobby Dahlbeck. Batting cleanup for your Boston Red Sox. The second half king. The Wonder of Worcester. The Arizona Animal.
Put him on the mound. Let him pitch.
Honestly, that's not a bad idea.
If I were the Red Sox, I would have forced him, but he hates pitching.
I'm just happy to see Bob up here because I know that he is probably losing his goddamn mind down in Worcester, being like, how many I know what the strikeout rate is. Shut the fuck up, Tyler. I know what the strikeout rate is.
I don't have to say it. They said
how many home runs does this man have to hit for some team to be like, yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, that looks fine enough for us. He can get on base. He can sock homers. Like, there are plenty worse major league hitters that are up on big league rosters right now for Bob to be stuck in goddamn purgatory. So for him to just be able to get a breath of big league air as we close out this godforsaken season, I'm happy for Bob, and fuck you if you're not happy for Bob.
All I'm saying is they're going to play him in right field one day. Alex Cora said, I'm looking forward to that.
I said that they should have done that 2 years ago.
Yeah, I wanted
when
at
it was
least
clear
that
that Casas was still the guy. I was like, why aren't they trying Bob out in the outfield? He's fast as fuck. He's athletic. Like, I understand, like, there are definitely elements to playing the outfield that you can't just go out there and do it. Like, it takes some time to learn the positions, plural. But it's not like he's not athletic. Like, I wouldn't trust Casas playing the outfield. Like, he's not that fast. But
you
like
Bob, Christian Arroyo out there a year ago.
He's not. He's not fast like Bob. Bob. I bet you Bob plays the outfield for a big league organization like full time at some point.
I could see it. Full time, no. On a bench role, maybe.
No, he's gonna be a full time outfielder.
In your dreams, maybe.
For the New York Yankees.
I'll sign up for that.
You want Bob stop making all-star teams for the Yankees? What kind of monster are you? What kind of personal grudge do you have against Bob?
I don't. Listen, I have respect for Bob, but Bob hurt me very badly.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
You're friends with him, so it's different. I don't have the relationship with Bob.
I didn't say that.
We all seen the video of you.
What are you talking about?
That's the video of you at the bar with Bob next to you. People, that's probably transferred horrendously for people just listening. But it's like, and then Bob's like,
what are you
I've
talking
seen
about?
it. Everyone knows the video.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. We were actually on a double date in that video.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
So you laid dick with Bob. That's why you feel this way.
Kinda.
Respect. I can understand it a little bit better now.
Yeah. Yeah, we were on a double date at a Mexican joint. Bob's mom was there.
Oh, you were with Bob's mom?
Mm-hmm.
That was your
she
date?
wasn't my date. No.
Oh. Now that's what everyone's going to think.
No, she was there, though.
Bob was with his mom?
She was there.
Doesn't sound like a date.
It was a double date with Bob's mom was also there.
Was your mom there and it was like a mom-son?
No.
Oh.
No.
Jesus. You did that to your boy? That's crazy.
No. I didn't. I just want to clear that up.
Oh, it's clear.
It's clear.
It's real clear.
Yep. Shout out to the Dahlbecks. Great family, great people. Happy to see him back up. And I've tweeted this before. I said, I don't know that there's another person in baseball right now that I get more enjoyment from seeing their personal success than Bobby Dahlbeck. Seeing him do good things on a big league diamond makes me happier than anyone else that has success right now.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Even Tyler Glasnow?
Glasnow is up there for sure. But Bob clears.
I can't even hate on that.
Yeah.
They're both great looking guys.
And they're both great human beings as well. You got anything else?
No, I don't want to get you any hornier than you already are. Wrap this thing up.
I'm getting horned up right now.
Oh, we can see it.
Yeah. All right.
In the Barbie tee.
Oh, yeah. We didn't. Yeah, my Barbie tee. We didn't do fucking Stop and Shop look ahead because I don't fucking care.
We both didn't hit this week again, or the series.
Yeah, who cares? They're playing the Texas Rangers. It's Cutter Crawford versus Jordan Montgomery. Tanner Houck versus Nathan Eovaldi.
That's a little fun.
Brian Bayo versus John Gray. I got the Rangers sweeping.
I'll take 1 out of 3. Give me 1 out of 3. Red Sox have to win a game at some point. There's no way.
Do they?
I refuse. And I feel bad for the win-loss people. I know some people got mad that I said, like, oh, who gives a fuck if they win or lose? It's about development, which is true because Red Sox don't care about your win total over under. But for those people, I would like them just to get past that mark. But losses are probably better in all reality for draft capital, and that's what I care about.
Jake, what do you got?
I'll just take a Red Sox sweep.
A Red Sox sweep.
Yeah.
But you got. They just got swept by the Guardians too, man. They're due. They're due to fuck you up.
Nah, dude, chill.
So you're feeling more positive. I'm giving you points towards you.
Me?
Yeah. They just got swept. So if you think the Rangers, oh fuck, we need a win. Let's beat up on this bad baseball team.
The Red Sox are getting swept.
Okay.
They're not going to win a game.
Give me 1, baby.
Nathan Eovaldi, perfect game. What?
No, continue. What else is going to happen?
Michael Young, 4 home run game.
Wow. Out of retirement. Good for him.
Yep. Nelson Cruz walk-off grand slam in the first game.
Josh Hamilton doing anything in this game?
Josh Hamilton's going to throw out a runner at home plate, outfield assist, and 5 hits. 10 RBIs.
I'm actually more into this series now that you're giving me these predictions.
Yep. Juan Gonzalez, cycle.
Juan Gonzalez, cycle.
Yep.
Is Neftali Feliz coming in to close it out?
Yes,
you got anything on
is.
Ian Kinsler?
Yep. No, Ian Kinsler's not going to play.
Oh, just sitting out?
Yeah.
Respectable.
Yep. And then I could see someone like Elvis Andrus turning like 6 double plays in this series.
I'm fully looking forward to Alexi Ogando getting a standing ovation from the Red Sox dugout for all his accomplishments in a Red Sox uniform.
Yep. Ogando.
In Texas, too.
In Texas. Cliff Lee, probably a complete game shut piece in the finale.
This is sick. This is not healthy what we're doing.
And
don't forget Red Sox former first round pick, David Murphy.
Yeah, David Murphy's going to go off. David Murphy. They move Gagne to the setup role. That's going to suck to see him again.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he's setting up. He's setting up Neftali Feliz.
It's been so long since I got to watch Mitch Moreland play baseball, though.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see Mitchie. It's going to be good to see Mitchie.
This is so sad.
Adrian Beltre definitely going to have one of those on one knee home runs.
I've heard a rumor that him and Rafi are going to be taking grounders together before the game just to work on some things.
Yep. If anyone tries to steal a base, guess what? Pudge is going to cut you the fuck down.
Fuck.
Yep.
Derek Holland.
Yep.
Red Sox spring training legend. We're going to get some interesting tweets out of him.
Yep. He'll be there. So, yeah, it'll be something. It'll be something. Are they off on Thursday?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, they are. My mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Deborah.
Deborah.
Debbie for short.
Debbie.
All right. Don't do that.
What?
My mom's a nice woman.
She's a great woman.
I would never do that to Ellen.
No. All right, we got to take a break and talk about Zyn nicotine pouches. We're always talking about what a team needs to get to number 1, but Zyn nicotine pouches are already there. Zyn has helped millions of people achieve lasting change, earning the title of America's number 1 nicotine pouch. If you're a smoker or you're a dipper looking to make a change, look no further than Zyn. Zyn is made with 6 simple ingredients and is available in a wide range of varieties, including spearmint, citrus, and even coffee. And it's available in 2 strengths so you can control your nicotine satisfaction. Because it's discreet, you can enjoy it anywhere, anytime, so you never have to miss a moment of the game. Plus, every can of Zyn earns you points towards premium items like tailgating gear, top-of-the-line tech, Zyn swag, even gift cards. Find your Zyn at your local convenience store or online at Zyn.com. That's Zyn, Z-Y-N.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Oh, and it's a 2 o'clock game on Wednesday. That's perfect.
Early recording time.
No, it's not because I have to do fucking baseball hour.
Hey. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to ask you to do it Thursday. That's an off day. You need to heal.
I need to heal. I need a mental day on Thursday.
Well, at least we'll be done at...
Why? Are you doing it on Thursday?
No, I'm on Friday.
Huh.
Me, McCarthy, and Mouse are locked into Fridays for the rest of the year.
Wait, I lied. This Friday is a home Friday.
Oh.
I don't care though. It's the White Sox. Who fucking cares? I might go to see Benny. That'd be cool.
Don't bring me up to Andrew Benintendi.
He doesn't like you?
I've said less than nicer things since he left.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I'm not an asshole.
How am I the guy that the players don't like? I stick up for everybody.
And here I am standing up for Josh Winkowski.
Well, he's an asshole.
The way he's treated you, I agree.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we'll be back on Wednesday. Enjoy this Texas Rangers Red Sox showdown. Huge playoff implications. The Red Sox win out. They can still get in, right?
Oh, yeah. We're not officially eliminated yet.
All right. If the Red Sox win out, they've got a chance. Crazier things have happened before. Maybe they'll happen. Playoff odds right now are at less than 0.1%, but that's not zero. So we'll see.
It's like our Theo odds.
Right. Tune in. Hashtag why not us.
Hashtag why not us? Why not Theo?
Yep. Hashtag why not us. Hashtag Soxtober. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Buenas noches, amigos.